Welcome back. Here on Amplified, we'll continue to talk about the need for criminal justice reform and lift up the concept of restorative justice, a theory emphasizing the need to repair the harm caused by criminal behavior and the criminal justice system. The criminal legal penal system is about punishment, but punishing people has done nothing actually to address the real ills that take place in our society. So what if we just avoided this system altogether? For more on this, I want to bring in one of my very dear friends, restorative justice practitioner and 2017, 18, 19 MacArthur Fellowship recipient. Was it 2019? Sujatha Baliga, who is a MacArthur genius, brilliant. Welcome to the show. I am so excited to have you here because I, for all of you, out there, have the privilege of getting to learn so much periodically from Sujatha about this issue. I'm so excited to bring it to you all. And so I really want to just start off by, Sujatha, asking you, how has the criminal legal system actually failed? And why do we punish people?
Thanks so much for the question, and thank you so much for having me on your show. It's just thrilling and wonderful to be here. So the criminal legal system has failed on a number of fronts. On your first day of law school, when you get that criminal law textbook, they tell you that there are 4 reasons that we punish people, that we have chosen punishment as our way of doing criminal law in this country. And the 4 reasons that we're told, when we look a little bit more closely at all 4 of them are abject failures in this country and in most places in the world, right? So what are those 4? The first is that we're told that there's this theory of deterrence. It's sort of like prevention, right? Like we're going to prevent people from committing crimes because there's this criminal law out there that everybody's afraid of. But the truth is that's been debunked. There's no evidence that having criminal laws out there hanging over all of our heads is the reason we don't commit crimes. Most people don't commit crimes because either that's not how they were raised or they don't have a need. There's no desperation going on that's causing people to make bad choices. So deterrence has been pretty much ruled out as a reasonable reason to punish people, right? The next one is incapacitation. What do we mean by that? We mean that we're going to prevent people from committing crimes by putting them somewhere else. Well, first of all, we don't put them somewhere else for very long. And also, they come back and they commit more crimes, right? And so in addition, when they're inside, it's not like there are not other human beings in there that they might harm. So this whole theory of incapacitation only really applies if we don't consider that people are being exposed to each other, to other human beings when they're inside prisons, right? That's something that we fail to remember. The third reason that we say that we punish people, our third justification, is rehabilitation. So how well has that gone? What do we know about folks who go in and come out? They go back in again, right? So we have a really, really high recidivism rate in this country. Depends on the jurisdiction and the crime, but it's usually around 65, 70, 80% sometimes, depending on the crime. And so that's pretty terrible. So the last reason is, just this idea of the state taking care of revenge for us, retribution, like as if that's an independent moral good, right? And so, that's not who we want to be as a people. And again, it hasn't proven to making us any safe. We're not running out there and being vigilantes just because the state's taking care of it for us. The vast majority of people aren't vigilantes, and we know this because the vast majority of crimes are not solved, and we're not all running out there trying to find the person who did the thing, who robbed me, who, burglarized my home. I'm not out there trying to find those people, right? So that's, kind of failed on all fronts. Every single thing it says it's doing, to the tune of billions and billions of dollars a year, failure on all fronts. That is the theory of punishment in this country.
And I love the way that, in your talks, you draw an analogy there to this idea of this failed product. We're spending billions and billions and millions of dollars on a failed system, but if there were an actual commercial product out there on the shelves that it took billions of dollars to manufacture and was failing in every single thing, as you say, that it's designed to do, it would be pulled from the shelves immediately. So what exactly should we be doing instead?
Right. Well, and especially if you think of it as like a safety device, right? If there were a safety device out there that was supposed to be keeping us safe, but that there was a lot of research actually that shows that it makes us less safe, that sending people away actually increases the possibility that they're going to cause more harm, right? That it takes away their chances to turn their lives around, that it does nothing to help people make it better, right? So no product like that would stay on our shelves, right? No safety product like that. So what should we be doing instead? So my life's work over the past 15 years has been in the field of restorative justice. I am a true believer, and I love the way you've been casting it really broadly, Aisha, on the show, and you've had so many amazing speakers coming out and talking about it. I think about it really specifically. And when I talk about restorative justice, I talk about families and communities having the opportunity, when someone's caused harm, to bring people together to come up with a plan to repair that harm. And that plan is actually created with the person who's experienced the harm. So imagine, like, if you get burglarized, that there are people who are trained in your community to sit down with you and think through, what do you need in order for this thing to be made right? And if you want to, meet with the person who did it, particularly the young person, and come up with a plan together about repairing that harm. And so we've been building this out. My previous organization, Impact Justice, is working in 12 jurisdictions now, doing an incredible job of sort of replacing these punitive questions of, like, what law was broken, who should we punish for it, like, what rule was broken, what punishment is deserved, how do we catch that person? We ask a really different set of questions. We ask, who was harmed, and what did they need, and whose obligation is it to meet those needs? And so it's really old-fashioned in a sense, right? So if you did something when you were a kid to your neighbor's property, your parents might take you next door and say you're sorry, look them in the eye, find out how much it costs, let's make this right. And when we do that, it repairs relationships, it makes things right. I believe we can do it instead of the criminal legal system entirely.
I'm always curious about how this looks like what this looks like, I should say, in practice, because, what about the victims, right? You've worked with so many victims of crimes. Don't people just feel like they deserve justice and that the perpetrator should go to jail?
What a great question. Well, as a crime survivor myself, that is the reason I came to this work. I believe that the criminal legal system does not just fail Black and brown communities where we lock up way too many of our own, but rather that it actually fundamentally fails crime survivors, right? So what do we know, particularly in the context of domestic violence? That 50% of survivors don't call the system at all. And of those who do, 20% say it made us less safe. 20% say it was kind of a wash, and 10% say maybe it improved things slightly. So that's like Department of Justice statistics on what happens with that crime, right? And in my own personal experience as a survivor of child sexual abuse and rape, I have never relied on the system to help me, because particularly as a young person, like, I had no interest in what the system had on offer. And I bet there are a lot of folks listening out here tonight who say the same thing, that they're not interested in what the system has on offer. I didn't want my dad locked up. I didn't want potential immigration consequences for my family. I didn't want to be taken away and put with some family who didn't eat our food or speak our language or practice our religion, or to be taken away from my sister, who was like the one thing that was keeping me sane as a kid, right? And so instead of our family being broken up by a system, I wanted our family to heal. And that's what drew me to restorative justice. And so you ask, like, what does it look like? So let's start with something more simple, like a burglary or something, right? Like, so in the places that Impact Justice is working, my previous organization, the Restorative Justice Project, we are working with 12 communities across the nation, and working with community-based organizations that are trained in this kind of helping build these types of dialogues at the community level, and working with the district attorney so that instead of charging young people with crimes like burglary and robbery and car theft and all of these things that start this endless spiral of people continuing to go to prison over and over and over again, those young people have an opportunity to meet face-to-face with the person that they harmed, to find out what the impact of their behavior was on somebody else, and with their families and communities together, come up with a plan to repair that harm. And so when that plan is completed, no charges are ever filed. And it makes us safer, and it works better on so many fronts. Not only is it cheaper, right, but we've shown a 44% reduction in re-offenses, rearrest and reconvictions with young people who go through this program. And the victim satisfaction rate is 91%. 91% of
Wow.
victims are satisfied. Now,
Wow.
we do a comparative analysis with what the government is doing, right? Do you think we have a 91% satisfaction rate with our for our crime victims who go through the system? No, we do not, because the vast majority of people don't even get
Mm-mm.
caught. Right. And we don't keep track of that data. Interesting follow up on what else we don't keep track of. Right. Do we keep track of whether or not survivors
Mm-hmm.
are satisfied with the system? We are not satisfied. I myself, as a survivor, am deeply dissatisfied with the criminal justice. It's the criminal legal system as it operates.
I want you to talk a little bit about forgiveness, which I know is really a focus or a framework even of your book that's to come soon. When we think about criminals, right? Because we're, oh, criminals, people did us harm. And the system, we assume that the system is solving some problems around the harms that exist in our society. But that isn't necessarily true because, like you said, crimes continue to be committed and people are still being harmed. So I wonder, how then do we actually solve the harms that exist?
Yeah, well, I think, there's those two pieces. One is the forgiveness piece, which I'm happy to come back to. But just overall, I think we need to change our thinking from punishment to accountability. Let's stop talking about punishing people and start learning what accountability really means. Accountability means doing right by the people that you harmed, right? And that means holding the humanity and the possibility of change with folks who have caused harm, right? And so whether or not we get all the way to forgiveness is a separate story. I've facilitated countless restorative justice dialogues where sometimes the word forgiveness comes up and sometimes it doesn't. And crime survivors get an opportunity to meet with the person that harmed them. Sometimes there's some bonding that happens there, and sometimes it's like, thank you for making this right and moving right along. But for me personally, I came to this work because I myself couldn't continue to carry the level of anger that I had towards my father and towards other people who have harmed me. And when I released myself from that anger, right, and the work that I did to do that, I found that it cleared up my mind so that I could think a little bit more clearly about solutions. Because as long as we're angry, we just keep picking up that hammer. And I believe that our entire criminal legal system is just a hammer, and we are just hammering and hammering and hammering our own communities by relying on these really punitive, toxic measures and really relying on the state to take care of what I really believe that we could be doing ourselves at the community level if we were more properly resourced to do so. We really just all need to be sitting around grandma's kitchen table to solve these kinds of problems because the state has failed terribly. And we know that we could do better. We know that we got us when it's really properly resourced, properly trained. We're seeing incredible outcomes. So my book is about forgiving my father, and I'm looking forward to getting that done soon. But it's just been a blessing to see this restorative justice work continuing to roll out nationally, and watching my team take it to the next level. After I left to write books, I'm just super, super proud of them. Restorative Justice Project, Impact Justice, doing.
And that is why you are a MacArthur genius. Sujatha Baliga, it is such an honor to have you on my show. Thank you so much for sharing with us and really breaking down restorative justice. Appreciate you.